Daniel.
Morning, Regan. How are you,
I'm
mate?
I'm very well. How you doing?
Yeah, good, good.
Got that whiteboard going still? How those
Yeah,
concentric circles going?
they're just they're circling at the minute. I had a look at it yesterday, and but I haven't completed any of the circles yet. But I thought, shit, I need to do that because there'll be some good insights in, just where I'm at and where I'm heading. I thought by just going through that process.
Yep.
Sometimes there's value in just going through a process. You kind of sort of start at the process and you feel like maybe not much value, but sometimes just doing the thing is a good thing.
Mm,
So it's a bit like, how we were talking ages ago about the reward is the effort, like
mm,
there's
mm.
some often there's just that discipline of just stepping into it or whatever it is. There's sometimes it's just good to complete something. So
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's been a demonstration that there's a relationship between testosterone and effort feeling good, right? Testosterone actually makes hard work feel rewarding, right?
yeah, there you go.
And
Yeah,
hence
yeah,
why like men are like the builders and where the more physical sex is just that it feels good to us when we're working hard.
yeah, it does. It does. It sure does. And especially, I used to find the thing that I got the most satisfaction of, was doing physical work where you produce something.
Mm. Yeah.
Like when I jackarooed, we did a lot of fencing, building fences and stuff, boundary fences up, and you'd be rooted at the end of the day, but you could look back down the fence line and you say, shit, we did a kilometre a day or we did whatever,
Yeah.
and then you could just go home and sleep and you've had that sense of achievement.
Yeah,
Whereas
absolutely.
in the office environment, it's a bit different. Like you don't often get that sense of that physical achievement or
Mm.
the visual part of it is missing, from the effort. So you've got to find that elsewhere. But it's nothing better.
Well, that's a really good point, and that's sort of my task at the moment is to try to help make visual feedback be aligned with sort of physical accomplishment, right?
Oh,
So that's what I'm trying to build with like the dashboards. I don't know if you use the dashboards
yeah,
ever.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
still not there because they're not like super user friendly. They've been helpful for me to keep track of everything, but the next iteration is I want something that's like as you put effort into it, it gets better.
yeah,
But then it's sort of like, because we've got these like social media. Social media has instant feedback, right? It's just constant feedback, but it's always about other stuff. It's always out there. It's always other people's life.
yeah,
Right? And then we have obviously like task management software and things like that. And so you can get a feeling of accomplishment, but that's often like just chores and things. So each week I'm sending out what are you putting effort into? What are your goals, etc. So hopefully those things you go out and you put effort into the world to achieve your goals, but then there's this high level visualization. It's like, oh, I can look back and I can see everything. You don't have to set it up. I'll set it up, right? You go out and act in the world, like as you're talking about, but then you've got these high level visual
yeah,
representations,
yeah,
sort of like, with the Whoop bands and the heart monitors and things like that.
yeah,
You can see your
sure.
progress, but this is more like holistic about your life. It's about your,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, it's a neat thing that yeah, that sense I've never forgot that sense of achievement,
mm,
that.
mm.
So yeah, it's really important, I think.
Yeah.
Well, just from my point of view anyway, and I guess other people may feel the same.
Well, that's
um
what we want to do with this PhD project is
yeah,
help you really clearly identify the milestones that you would need to hit that would give you a sense that you are the project and that
yes,
you can turn yourself, your life, your surroundings, your environment, whatever, into the kind of thing that you want. And then we can clearly specify it. And so when things are set up the way you want them to be.
yes, yes, and I guess that's the key. And going through that slide pack that you sent, there was I used a lot of Chat GPT in there. You would have noticed, and I saw and
So I've
oh,
I've requested for you to give me permission, but I still can't see them.
oh fuck, really?
Which is okay. The whole point of this is that we're going to go through it together
Yeah,
as one on one.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
because
yeah,
at
yeah,
this,
yeah.
yeah, I can't be
Yeah.
doing office work. So yeah,
No, that's right. No, because I've got that old school sense of, you upload something and then the lecturer fucking looks at it and then they write some comments and they send it back, sort of thing. That's what
so
that's
we'll
cool. Yep.
We'll do that here together.
Yeah.
But I will need your access, and I've sent it wherever you sent it from. So you should get an email saying I'm requesting access.
Oh, there it is right there. Oh, it just popped up now.
Yep, because I just resubmitted.
So, um, so will I just click share or something? Is that
Yep. So share would then, if you just had anyone with the link, because obviously these links are private, so you send me the link. Anyone with the link can view, and then that just, if you do that on your end in the beginning before you send it to
send
me,
it? Yeah. Okay.
then
Because
I can always open the links. All right, cool. I've got it.
you want it. Okay.
Okay, great. So it's a 14-page, 10-page deck.
Yeah, because I took some liberty, which
Yeah,
may or may not be academically prudent, but
I'm playing.
I thought I was just sort of finding our way a little bit, so I'll take some liberty. I just split a couple because there was too much, and I've put too much in for a like a presentation. But the way I was thinking about it was there was say some of the background of alchemy and the four stages, the darkening and the whitening and all that sort of stuff, the blackening and the whitening. And I just felt for me there was value in putting more detail in there. Not for you, obviously, because you know it, but yeah, for me, I just felt there was value in just putting more detail, so I got a bit better understanding of what it meant as well. So that's what it was going.
Okay. So what we'll do then, why don't you talk me through it? Basically, the structure that I want it to be is 10 slides, 10 minutes. So it gives you about a minute per
Oh,
slide,
oh yeah, okay, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you just talk me through it. This doesn't have to be a thesis at this level, right?
yeah,
At this stage. What I'm thinking we do is so I think within a couple of weeks would be going like once a month. But
yeah.
for the next couple of weeks, we can meet. We can probably meet next week, and we can meet 2 weeks after that. But then we'll meet 4 weeks
Then
after
we'll
that.
go
And
for weekly. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
So we
and
just want
that'll
to make
give
sure
me. Yeah, we just get that momentum started. It's
exactly.
a bit like
Yep.
the siphon,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
siphon happening, and then away we
Yeah.
go, sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
okay, sweet.
So use that as an on-ramp. So what I'd like you to do probably across these time frames is
Yeah,
you're going to stay with this 10 pages, but
yeah,
you're going to resubmit it to me, right? A new version each time we meet,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just going to be refined. So at the moment, you've got it very text
Oh,
heavy, which is great. It's a brain dump.
yeah, yeah.
But you're going to present basically the same thing in a condensed version, 10 slides,
Mm,
10 minutes. You
mm,
can use more
mm.
images, etc. So I'll
Yeah,
give you commentary here.
yeah, okay.
We'll expand on certain things, we'll cut certain things, and then we'll do it again next week. And then we'll do it again 2 weeks after that. And then we'll identify, okay, well, what is the prime mover that you can start acting on, right?
Yes,
Because
yeah,
the first thing we want to act on is just brain dump. Just get the ideas out of your head
yeah,
so that they're clear, they're communicated, we both know what you're doing, and then we'll move through them systematically over a longer time frame
yeah.
and just hit goals, hit milestones, etc.
Love it. All right.
And I think if we take a snapshot each time we meet of this document or a similar document, when it comes time to look back, 3 months, 6 months, and sort of towards the end of the period, we can say, well, here are all the snapshots. Here's how it's evolved. And these recordings, so I'll make sure that each of these recordings is available to you too.
Yeah,
So
good. Yeah,
you can go ahead and you'll see all of your progress, all of the documentation, video, etc.
yeah.
And then we can use that if we wanted to like make a thesis, make a live video, go to scientific conferences, etc. All right.
Excellent.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's my plan. Why don't you take us away with this document? You can either share your screen or I have it here with me.
Yeah. If you just want to follow through,
Yep.
I've got it up here on a big screen, so
Yep.
I'll just run through it. So, slide one, introduction. So I just used that. I used that document you sent through called Personal Alchemy Project,
Yep. Yep.
and then yeah, so I just used the criteria and the goals as kind of a guide of what you were looking for, which was good. That was really handy. That was a really good document.
Good.
It just helped get some focus around what you were looking for,
Yep.
or where I needed to get to. And not I haven't hit the mark every time anyway. So
Sorry, what
so
I am going to do,
yep,
I'm going to share my screen just so for
yeah,
posterity, when we
yeah.
go back, we
Oh,
actually have a recording of the screen.
I see. Yeah, good.
So,
Okay, okay.
do you, yeah, I'll share.
Yep. See it. I can see it. Yep.
I'm just going to move it to a different tab. All right. Self-transformation.
So
Okay,
that's
so
what I'm calling it. I'm
yep,
calling it
perfect.
self-transformation, because I guess that it's a me project. It's the project of Dan, I guess.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
um, so yeah, I like the concept too, and it fits nicely with the fundamentals of alchemy around transmutation and moving from one state to a better state or a more valuable state. I guess that's how I kind of like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Well,
All right. So, number one, intro to alchemy and self-study. Go ahead.
so the thing I like about that fundamental aspect of alchemy is around that transmutation or the transformation. And I'm using those words interchangeably. I'm not sure whether that's right to do that,
You're
or
telling
is
the
it
story at the moment?
wrong?
Actually, let's high level comment. Do you want to present to me and then I'll give you comments at the end, or do you want to have it as a conversation as we go through?
I think conversationally is good because it's in
Okay.
context.
Yep.
Um,
All
and
right.
then
Yeah,
you know,
so transmutation is the more accurate, but it's really about transmutation means to transform one thing into something else. But I
yeah,
think gives a it gives a view that we're moving towards a higher valued state. So it's
yeah,
not just change, it's transform and evolve to a higher
yes,
value.
yeah. And I think that's the key. It's not change just for change's sake. There's a higher order purpose or outcome, a higher order outcome to the process, which is important. And I like that. I like that concept in alchemy about that. And I guess that's what I put here, that so that you're transforming our substance. Well, in that case, it's me, um, to a greater perceived value. And I put perceived in brackets there because I think the perception has a key role
Yep.
in that. And
Yep.
and I guess then the question is, well, from whose perspective, whose perspective are you looking at? Well, I guess there's scope there to look at different perspectives of that change as well down the track. But
Yep.
initially, it's just going to be you and me, I guess, in terms of the perspective. So the perceived value will be around you and me at the minute. Um, let it go. Yeah, that's the old let it go thing. Now, the interesting thing, from a gateway, and I've just brought the gateway concept in here because I'm thinking there's going to be some value in linking the gateway process or the gateway system to this transformation, because I think that from what I've seen so far in gateway, it is transformational. That meditation, even just the meditation itself, I think has been very valuable for me anyway. So from a gateway, it's limited consciousness to infinite consciousness, which is the famous book, whatever it's called, the pendulum one. What's it called? Stalking the wild pendulum.
Yep.
So anyway, so I thought I'd just bring that in there. What do you think about that? The connection of gateway to this process?
100%. I think it is a very distilled version of how to open your mind up, how to
Yeah.
expand your consciousness. And alchemy really is, as you say, there's the chemistry perspective led into gold, which is a metaphor for us taking our
Yes.
unformed substance, right? As a child, we're kind of unformed, which has its own beauty, and
Yeah.
refining it
Yeah.
into something very crystallized that has high potency, high value, high purity, etc. Right? And then this consciousness exploration, right? Alchemy is that the individual, the alchemist, is both the experiment and the experimenter, right?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
consciousness is sort of the laboratory.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
And
that.
with the gateway, this gives us kind of direct access to consciousness
Yeah.
using the audio techniques and putting the body into a sleep state. We have access directly to consciousness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's fantastic. It's exactly the direction that I want to go
Yeah.
personally, but this is your project, so I'm
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
happy that
Yeah. No, I'm very,
you're
very
bringing
keen
it
to
in.
do. I
Yep.
just very quickly, I was watching a video. It's a 2 hour video. I've only watched 45 minutes about dreaming, and there's this brain surgeon. Um, and it's relevant. It's relevant here.
Okay, grab it up. I'm just going to close the door. There's a bit of external noise.
Yeah,
Okay,
right, mate.
grab it up when you're
So
ready.
there's a brain surgeon called Rahul Jandial. Have you ever heard of Rahul
No.
Jandial? So he's got this podcast about he's a brain surgeon, a neuroscientist, blah blah blah. But he's got this fabulous thing about dreaming. It's just outrageous how good it is, and he's talking exactly about what we're talking about in Gateway. You
Mm.
know, about the different parts of the brain that you need to suppress in order to get you know, the imagination working and the consciousness development. It was just funny because I've got a yeah. So I started watching that yesterday, which is really interesting, and it's also interesting that Melissa is a dream interpreter in our group.
Yep.
So there's some value, there's some things going on there um, that I haven't quite stitched together yet, but there are some meaning. There's meaning there. Um, and then, yeah, so specifically, I want to use the alchemy's transmutation to unleash my potential. And then I'd like to help other people unleash theirs. So for me, it's about learning about myself, but I'm conscious that I want to create a situation where it's repeatable,
Hmm.
and it's repeatable to the extent that, you and I and whoever else wanted to could employ the process, whatever it is, to then develop others' consciousness.
Yep.
So it's a me project, but it's the me project to do the us, well, the we part. So
Yeah.
I guess
Okay. Great. I like this so far. I think we're on definitely the right track. I do want to say we should go through relatively quickly,
yeah,
right? So,
I'll
um,
skip through because some of them they're quite wordy, and it's more like I said, it's more for my value
yeah,
benefit, not yours.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Look, no
you
criticism.
you
Just
can skip.
why don't you run me through it? This is just a high level transfer of
Yeah, okay,
information.
right.
Um, so specifically, you want to use alchemy's transmutation to unleash your potential, which you then want to use to help others. Great, great. So this is the framing of the experiment.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, some
100%.
background.
Right. So yeah, background. So that's just about historical uses of alchemy, which I got straight out of chat. I just asked chat to tell me some of the
Yeah, great.
historical uses. Um, and there's some fabulous stuff in there too. And I guess for me, it's also I'm also learning about alchemy as well. So there's that aspect of it that I need to get a baseline understanding of it as well to help me to use it better. So in the overall process, I need to do that. So it's just, yeah, there's some interesting stuff in there. And then I just read a bit about the history of it, and how
Great.
it sort of went from one country to another country, and then in each country put their own spin on it, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. So
Awesome. We'll
that's all that
definitely.
is.
I think the historical context is great. It really will help put a lot of the stuff that we do in context because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
not like I know people use alchemy as just like a bit of a buzzword, etc. But I actually do care about the historical significance because it has, I used to study perception, consciousness, etc. These are direct offshoots of the original alchemy
Yeah.
um, research. So great. Glad to see that you got some background. Perfect.
And the interesting thing, it was a precursor to chemistry. I didn't
Yes.
realize that.
Yeah,
That
that's
alchemy
exactly.
came first. Chemistry came
Yes.
like a long way down the track. So it's
Chemistry,
got
medicine, psychology, astronomy, these are all offshoots of alchemy.
of
Alchemy
alchemy.
is the proto science. It was the
Yeah.
science that we had before we had science. And
Any
what's
of the numbers.
interesting, science has become so fragmented.
Yes.
And so they call it objective. It's not objective. It's just it takes the experimenter out of the situation, which has its value, but we need to also add it back in. If we want a complete understanding of science and nature and the world and consciousness, we're a part of that. And so
Yeah, we
I
are.
think
And
we're
yes,
coming full circle, right?
yes, and it's important. And the funny thing, I think I was mentioning to you when I did my undergraduate degree in agriculture, it's called systems agriculture. So we studied, and it was Peter Checkland and Scholes. They were the primary academics who developed the concept. But that was all about human activity systems and how everything related to something else. So if you made a change, and it was related to agriculture. So if you made a change in a production system, to say a fertilizer regime, it's going to have an impact on not just the direct focus being the plant, but it's going to affect soil chemistry, it's going to soil biology, it's going to affect a whole range of things. So it was also understanding that interrelationship. And that was, how I was talking about weaving threads together in
Yep.
a tapestry. That was one of the main threads I was referring to because that was a transformational process for me, that exposure to that. And the whole getting into that was so serendipitous. It was how do you say it? What's the noun? Synchronicitous. Anyway, whatever it
Synchronistic.
is. Yeah, it was just crazy. Anyway, I can talk about that another day, but it's just an interesting pathway to get there. And then here I am back in, a similar world, so which is great. So yeah, that was just background sort of stuff. And then there was more about, so that was historical uses and then modern uses, and I just split them because I had too much shit on there.
No, I think it is good. It's a great split because there is the sort of proto-scientific approach, which was where it was lead, heavy metals, gold,
Yeah,
laboratories, distillation, etc., which then has led to the modern usage,
yeah,
which also was prevalent in the original stuff. It was a consciousness thing, but
yes,
people like Carl Jung,
yeah,
etc., and
Jung,
then its
yeah,
uses in transformational coaching, therapy, spirituality. And I think when you look back over all the stuff that we have done and all the things that I've been talking about, you'll realize where they actually came from, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
obviously am a coach and I try to help people understand their own spirituality, their mind, psychology, etc. But, framed within alchemy, hence why I've always called this the school of alchemy. I think
yeah,
you can
yeah.
see, right?
And I get that now. Like,
Yeah.
so this
Yeah.
has been really good. So that's why I say the context of alchemy now for me has a far deeper meaning,
Yeah.
just as a basis, but also then for the future in this work, So yeah, this has been a great process, and it's surprising. Like Jung, when I saw Jung come up, I went, what, fuck Jung,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And then all
Man,
these,
he knew. He really knew this stuff. So,
yeah, oh,
um,
that's awesome. It's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
It's
and then so that's
keep
good.
going.
So that's good. So the focus, can I use gateway experience for personal transformation? I just want, that's just a question. Um, and how do I design experimental framework? So the thing for me is about also designing a method with a view to be able to replicate it
Yeah.
with others or
Yeah.
for others with others. So I guess that second question is leading towards that outcome is, want to frame it in a way where it's repeatable.
Yep.
Um, but by the same token, obviously, we don't want to confine it. So there's going to be a bit of a balance there between prescription
Correct.
and
Yep.
then it's like
No,
letting it happen, that organic sort of stuff.
exactly. No, that's exactly the right approach. I mean, we want to have some framework. We want something scaffolding, some
Yeah,
scaffolding. We want to
yeah,
be able to have some objective benchmarks and things that are repeatable. So that's great. And look, we
okay,
will redefine this continually.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is a good start.
Good. All right. So the next one. So yeah, for me, it's about a deeper understanding of alchemy, as I said, because there's some really great stuff in there, just as an interest, self-interest, but also provide context to what we're going to do, and how it then applies to personal transformation, um, and then a deeper understanding of gateway for the same thing, how it applies to personal growth and um, unleash your potential, and then so the other thing then is trying to get a baseline. So any sort of transformation, it's from something to something, and a series of steps in the way. Obviously,
Yes.
it's not that binary. But I guess so for me, then it's well, how do I know or measure or put the mark in the sand? Like how do I physically draw that line to say this is a starting line? So I guess I'm trying to understand, or I want to spend some time understanding that and then articulating what that looks like, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, Again, for the same purpose of then being able to derive the most meaning from it, and also then to be able to share it with other people.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I'll help you with that. So what we'll try to
Yes.
do
Yeah.
together is figure out, okay, what are some benchmarks that we want to look at?
Yeah.
We already do it with the weekly updates, and what I think we do is we'll apply a sort of a lunar calendar to this.
Yeah.
So I think at
Yes.
every new moon, we should take a more holistic look. So each week we look at sort of organization productivity. That's the faith focus effort part, setting goals. But then I think each new moon, we should say more holistic, like how are you feeling about the direction of your life? Are you living
Yeah.
aligned with,
Yeah.
what you're passionate about? Do you feel like you spend time with your, passions, with the things that you care about, right? How's your health? How's your, finances and career? How are your relationships, right? So looking at a higher level, and we'll do that each month with the learning calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And then yes. Okay. So how I do it. So I'm calling it. So the process of defining the thesis topic and the method.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you,
so
sorry, I'm really sorry. Just we've got some workmen come to our place. Just pause for 1 second. We'll
Yeah,
resume here. I just have to let
yeah,
them
yeah. You're right, mate. That's
1 second.
100% fine. Don't stress. All good.
I'll be out soon. All right, Leland, come. So you guys, if you want to drink or something, just help yourself. Take time. Sorry about that, man.
That's okay.
All right.
I know what it's like when you've got people coming and going. Yeah, you just got to
Yeah.
deal with it. So that's fine.
My
Um,
my old man was supposed to be around to. Anyways, all good, all good.
all right,
So,
great. So this is basically the approach as I'm thinking about it. So, we work this process and finalize it. Literature reviews, research methodology, experiment process, experimentation results. Revision if we need. Blah blah blah. Analyze. The drill. Um,
yep.
okay. So this was also a this was out of ChatGPT. So I just did some background on the stages of alchemy. I'd never heard of these four before, so that was a revelation. So that was also good. So that's probably a bit over the top as far as detail, but again, for my benefit.
No, no, it's good. I like that you did this. I talk about them differently, but
Oh yes,
you've been introduced to all of these just in their own way, right? So
yes,
I put them in language that everyday people can understand. So when we talk about, magnum opus, we actually talked about the great work, right? And we do this with the hero's journey, right?
yes, yes,
Personal
and that's the
adventure.
thing. That was the other thing that was really neat because when I saw this, I thought, well, that's a hero's journey, and I thought, well, there's a nice connection
Yep.
straight away, or another
Exactly.
framework that obviously was based on this. So that was neat. I like
Well,
that.
yes, exactly. It's not another framework. This is just because it's funny. Symbolism is a really beautiful thing, and Carl Jung talks about this a lot. In that
Yeah,
we use symbols. Symbols change how they're talked about. Like, the yin yang symbol.
yeah.
That is an alchemical symbol, and it's been around thousands of
Oh,
years, right? That's one of the symbols of alchemy because it's the blackening, the whitening, and sort
yeah,
of like the
right.
the union,
Yeah,
right? Enlightenment and wisdom. And it's complete. It's a whole object, fully integrated and perfect,
yeah,
where the darkness and the light are one at a certain level. So the symbol of the yin yang is those four stages all described in its own,
yeah.
you know.
There you go.
So
Fucking
that's
awesome.
what symbolism can do for us because we can talk about it in its own way, balance, union, whatever. But
Yeah,
there it is again, written in a different way.
yeah. And
So,
this was really good too. So I got a lot of value out of just how this went. Oh, and the numbering fucked up. Obviously, I just see
uh,
1 1 1 1.
it'll be better next time when you
It
refine it.
will be. It will be. I'll fix the numbers. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So that was the stages, and then progress. Just anything I read, I'll start a bibliography because I know how fucking hard at the end of a. If you wait till the end to do it, it's a shit job.
Yeah.
So I'll just I'll just keep a file somewhere of anything that I read and see and whatnot.
Great.
Um, and this is just the presentation that you talked about in terms of the cadence for that lit review. So then that baseline issue that I want to be able to baseline so that we've got a starting point for tracking. Do the journaling, and then I'll just figure out some headings that I want to write because those will also help with the baseline or the subsequent from baseline, the progress from baseline. Um, um, Using the personal growth position evaluation framework. I don't know where the fuck I got that from. I don't know what
But I'm gonna position.
position evaluation framework.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. It must have been. Yeah, that might have been an over caffeinated moment.
That's okay. No worries. I think this is good so far. For the daily journal, maybe we start with just like the fear journal in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you want? What are you afraid of on your pathway to getting there?
Yep. Okay. I'll just use fear journal. That's good.
Yep, just for now, and we'll refine that over time. But this looks good. Yep, the big bibliography, literature review. Perfect. Possible challenges.
So there's just a knowledge. So it's just an ignorance, I guess, ignorance. So overcome it by reading and studying and talking with you, and then just effort. Remain effort. Then is just just being have a plan. Like if I've got a plan, and the milestones, I'm much better. I like the structure and discipline of life, in this sense. And then the self-assessment program, um, a good experimental methodology. However, AI, we're going to apply AI, and I guess ChatGPT has helped already. But I know you've got some other thoughts around the application of AI, which I'm keen to explore, and that's
Yep.
what that's about. And then there's just that whole unknown unknowns. Stuff's going to come up that we didn't envisage, um, which can be a challenge or not. It might be a great opportunity, it might be a breakthrough, or it might be fuck, this is tough or whatever. So I guess it's just making that visual.
Okay. So I'll definitely help with that. It'll be great in the beginning. We just dump stuff down, we capture it with snapshots, and then we
Yeah.
can apply, AI itself is going to, by the time 2 years is done here with you, the
Right.
advancement of AI, we're on the brink of super intelligence if we don't already
Yeah.
have it. So
Yep.
we'll figure out how to apply that with increasing
Yep.
incision
So I'm reading this book at the
fastness.
moment called The Potentialist by a bloke called Little, this bloke Little. And just very quickly about this, he's talking about this brain to computer interface,
Mhm.
and then the sort of stuff, democratizing knowledge. And there's some just fascinating stuff about the whole democratizing of the world, really, he's
Yeah.
talking about. So that was exciting. Okay, the next slide. Um, so patterns and meaning. So this was another chat GPT help I got from that. Again, that was more for my benefit, just understanding what's possible. Um,
Yep. So we as we dump things down and we take these snapshots, we'll be able to start picking out, okay, what's consistent across
yeah,
these things? What are the patterns? Where can we better apply ourselves to refine your project, who you
yeah,
are, where you're going, those kinds of things. So
yeah, yeah,
that's something that's what you might call an emergent property
yeah,
of
yes,
this. So we have a goal, we know kind of what we want, but then over time, as we continue to create things, things will emerge that we
yeah,
hadn't quite seen before, and we will
yeah,
start to use that as the feedback process.
yeah, yeah, 100%, 100% agree with that. Okay, and then purpose. So for me, it's about deepening self-understanding and self-mastery, transforming limiting beliefs, and so I guess fear journaling will help in that as well. Cultivate inner strength, spiritual and emotional intelligence integration, and then just enhance intuition and inner wisdom. You know, and then ultimately be a transformed
Yep.
person.
Yep.
Whatever that is, or whoever that is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I, and it's difficult to define that because because if we're getting into the realm of infinite or infinity, like in terms of time and space, um, then yeah, who knows what that person's going to look like,
Yeah,
So
also, who you are now has a limited horizon.
yeah,
As we expand your consciousness, your ability to be creative about who you could be in the future will improve. So, if we try to aim at an improved person, then that improved person will be able to see further, right? And
yes,
have new
yes,
goals. And yeah,
yes, yes, exactly. So yeah, and that'll be fascinating in its own right, just how that,
yeah,
and that'll be an exponential thing, I would imagine.
yeah.
I would think
Feeds on
that
itself for
that's
sure.
exponential. That
Yep.
you do a bit and you do more. Yeah, so it'll
Yep.
be interesting to track that. Okay, so that's that. And then yeah, just a bit more about um, that was some. This was Chat GPT stuff. So
Sure.
um,
Yep. Okay, so yep, in fulfillment, transcendence, continuous growth, creativity, etc. Great. Yep, we'll be going through you and me.
yeah,
We'll be using AI and I'll help you develop
yeah,
because it can be used as a blunt instrument or it can be used as an incisive tool. And we will
very
want to go from blunt to
decisive.
incisive,
Yes, I agree. Yes.
right? Gateway, yes, I think this is a great way to start. Some of the frameworks we can use, good. There's some good documentation there. Obviously, we're going outside the realm of mainstream science, but I think these things are repeatable. They are accessible to others. Um, so we're still well within the bounds of it's experimental psychology, right? So
Yeah, and that was my other question is what area of work is it? It's not neuroscience, but um
yeah.
is it neuro whatever? It's not
Well,
probably
I
not
I
even
could
neuro.
imagine us being there's a few ways to talk about it, and I struggled to define myself. I lent on being a neuroscientist, I mean, I was working in a neuroscience of consciousness lab and I did a PhD in perception and I was in a school of psychology and right. So it is kind of hard to define it as one thing. Um, I think honestly, we could be like, fuck everybody else's definitions. What we're doing here is alchemy. This is why it is the School of Alchemy. We are alchemists. If we want to publish research, if we want to put things out there into the world, it doesn't have to be in some neuroscience journal or psychology journal. We could do that. In fact, I have a number of projects based on my PhD and my postdoc research that if we wanted to, we could directly use as the basis for new research. And we could submit this to psychology journals, neuroscience journals, if we
Yes.
wanted.
Yeah.
Now, that's a pathway that I don't necessarily want to tread into lightly because that's
Mm.
I'm really happy to. If that's the direction you wanted to go, I would be more than happy to provide a supervisory role for you in that. It's not going to be my primary thing, but
No.
absolutely, I'm happy. If you wanted to create um, research publications, that could be really, really fun and interesting. Um,
Yeah,
so,
and I guess that there was I've got some interest in doing that,
yeah,
um, because I think there's value in telling the world about what we're doing, as
yep,
well,
yep,
and then that could open the gate to helping other people,
yep,
So I guess and the thing then if it's got some formal acceptance in terms of a journal article that's been accepted, then you
yep,
can use that as a platform then to go and talk to people in a public
yep.
arena. I guess it's more
Completely
about
happy to do
branding.
that. And the
Yeah,
research that I have done and published as well is in the realms of I've got obviously neuroscience publications, perceptual illusions, I've got metacognition, there's like AI research, mindfulness research, all of these things I've already published. And so you'd be welcome to go and look at my bibliography, all the
yeah,
things that I publish. If you find things interesting that you thought, well, we could use this item or element or framework and then adapt back into it, this alchemy, hero's journey,
yeah.
consciousness, gateway experience, whatever, I'd be completely happy for that.
Excellent. Okay. I think there'd be well, there would be value in that. And I guess the reason I'm asking that is just if I'm looking for literature, then it's good to have some, like a little boundary around it or
Yep.
initially,
Yep.
just to say, well, I'll search for this, and I guess that's why I was wondering
Sure.
what the
Just see if
area
you can
of
keep
study I would.
track of anything you find that is broadly in the ballpark, right?
Yeah.
So you'll want to probably create whether it's an Excel spreadsheet with just the
Yeah.
links or
Yeah.
a folder, maybe even a USB of all the if you want to download the PDFs, etc. Right? We could look into actually keeping track of this, and then over time, and this is where AI as an incision tool, we can say, we'll let it go in and find all the relevant stuff, and we'll bring it out. So in this
Oh, yeah. Okay.
period, while you are searching, be more liberal, capture
Yes.
more than is
Yeah.
necessary, and then we'll refine it later
Yeah.
over
So
time.
we'll take a divergent position initially, and then as the thesis topic refines, then we can, yeah, okay,
Correct.
I like
Yep.
that. I
Zero
can live
in.
with that.
Yep.
That makes sense to me, that approach.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Excellent, mate. All right.
Right. Now, before we do wrap up, two
Mhm.
things. One, so what I want to do really is, with your permission, I kind of would like to make this journey not necessarily public, but accessible to other students,
Yeah,
right? So
I agree. I,
somebody in the future who wanted to do like a 3 month thing or a 2 year thing or whatever, if they wanted to do their own, they can actually look through and see your journey, right? And that'll be good for you as well. You can look back and see your journey, and other students can go back and see your journey, right? I would love that. I think that would be the best approach.
so do I. I agree with that.
Um,
That's fine.
so I can handle that in the back end, making sure
Right.
that it works. So do you have any final commentary on this? And then I'll trim from the recording this conversation that we're about to have,
Yeah, right.
right? So is there anything that
No,
you,
no, all good, mate. Thank you.
so final comments on this? I think it's a great start.
Thank
It's a
you.
good brain dump. What I want you to do is for next week,
Mhm.
copy this. So don't edit into this one, make a copy of it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So this is a snapshot of where you were at today,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I get you. Yeah, yeah.
right? And then we're going to create a new snapshot. So I would say give this a title with the date. So you've got it's called self transformation and have it as date, 2024,
As at,
November
yeah,
13.
yeah, yeah,
And so that date and then self-transformation.
yeah.
We will then, each time we meet, we'll have a snapshot of these slides, of this recording, and you'll be taking weekly updates, and then we'll do the monthly review on the lunar calendar, right? So this is going to be the data we'll generate, and then what we'll see is that there'll be an emergent patterns and
Yeah.
things we can look into. This will be part of the data collection and analysis process,
Got you. Got
right?
you. Okay.
So there's that. Now, the next part is payment.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do, let me just bring up School of Alchemy. So what I've said is it's going to be 99 a month.
Yeah.
It's going
US.
to be
Yeah.
USD.
USD.
Yep. And the
Yeah.
reason that is the case is that what I've got this second school. I've got the School of Alchemy, but then I've got the Mastermind Academy,
Oh
right?
yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is part of the School of Alchemy, and then the PhD program will be part of the Mastermind Academy,
Oh
right?
yeah. Okay. Yes.
So the Mastermind Academy costs 99 USD a
Ah,
month. Like
yeah.
a school page costs 99 a month. So my contribution is 99 a month USD. Your contribution is 99 a month USD. Since you're the first student, effectively all that just means is that you're paying for the for the school page, right? So I'm
Yeah.
paying for it, and then you're paying me, and then that's going to
Yeah.
cover that cost. The
Yes.
next
Got you.
student that comes along will then start to build up a little school fund,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not here to make profit off of this because this is genuinely what I want to see come into the world, right? So your 99 a month pays for this platform, and then if we charge students 99 a month, there's a buy-in, right? But there will be a selection process. So you've done multiple coaching programs with me. I know that you are a committed, dedicated, diligent person. That's why I'm happy to work with you.
Yeah. Excellent.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
What I would then like to
Awesome.
do is in this classroom is we're going to create for you a new course, right? The course will be like Daniel's PhD,
Yep.
right? And then we'll put all of these documents, like the videos, etc., as public, so people can go in and so there'll be one for me, there'll be one for you, and then other students will have their own, right?
Yep.
And so it's
Yep.
basically creating almost a research profile for you, which will be your history, it'll be your all the
Awesome.
milestones, and you can go back
Yeah.
and we can look
Yeah.
at it, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I want to do these snapshots. How does that sound to you?
Sounds wonderful. I think
Okay.
it's a great idea. It's
All
really
right.
good. Yeah. For a whole lot of reasons, it's really good.
All right. Perfect. So
Okay.
there's not going to be much content in the Mastermind Academy yet, but
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the link and we'll start the payments as of today. I've got
Right.
to
Yeah.
deal with this work here, but I'll send that through to you today when payment's made. Like, I mean, you've already started, so it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the link, and I'll crack on straight away.
perfect. Okay, my friend,
Awesome. That was awesome. Thank you.
let's meet
Very
again in
excited.
1 week.
Yes.
Do the same presentation, but I want you to trim it down and practice it and maybe use some imagery, right? You can get some
Yeah.
symbolism,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. Good. No, and I think that symbolism thing is. I'm glad you mentioned that because
Yeah,
that's yeah. That
yeah,
that'll help um focus it a bit and
yeah,
get some of
yeah,
the words out. It's
yeah,
just make
yeah,
it a.
exactly.
Well, that's good. Okay. Thanks,
So
man.
part of this is it is getting the story clear, right? The
Yeah.
story of
Yeah.
your life, your own
Yeah.
hero's journey.
Yeah.
So you've now gone through this expansion process where you've brain dumped everything. Let's do the same presentation a couple of times and we'll distill it down so that it's like really clear in your mind what each of these stages are.
Yeah.
And then we can start to take any one of them, magnify it. And so we could take the research methods, which is one slide at the moment, and we could make 10 slides of that.
Oh,
You see
yes,
what we do?
yes. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Got
We'll
you.
meet in 1 week. You
Yep,
choose when,
yep.
do the same slides again, but with refinement.
Calm down. Yep. Sweet.
Perfect,
Awesome.
my friend.
All right,
Great
that's great,
start.
Regan.
Really,
Thanks,
really
mate.
great start, man.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Really appreciate that. Good on you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Take care.
talk soon.
Bye.
See ya.